Hello Canadian gardeners, how are you guys doing? Today is a special episode and it's brought to you by Peavey Mart. Hi, if you guys don't know who I am, my name is Ashley. I'm a YouTuber in my spare time, and what I enjoy doing is making videos about gardening and plant care, both inside and out. Now, the thing that makes me slightly different than the rest of the crew is that I'm actually a soil scientist. I obtained my education through the University of Saskatchewan at the College of Agriculture and Bioresource. So I apply the science I learned in university about plant care and soil into the garden, and guess what? It works. So my goal is always to bring gardening back to the basics. It's to get rid of all those silly hacks, try to see if I can prove them correct or incorrect, and give you the best methods to use in the garden, all based around cold climates and Canada. So if you like the sounds of that, be sure to stay tuned. In this video, we're going to be doing something super special. We're going to be doing an all-in video for beginners and experts. I guarantee you, you will learn something in this video regardless of what stage you're at in the garden. Now, like I said, you're probably thinking, I'm an expert. I've been doing this for 10 years. There's nothing I could possibly learn. I'm going to be laying down some snippets throughout the video that I can almost guarantee you've never heard of. So let's get into some coffee talk. Tim Hortons coffee, obviously. So the first thing is zones and the importance of them. There's two things that make your zone important. It's going to tell you what perennials you can plant, and then also when it's time to put your vegetables or your annual plants outside. Now, I'm going to pop a map up here on the screen. This map is incredibly valuable. All you need to do is find out exactly where your town or city lies on the map, and then you have an idea of what your zone is. I went to Peavey Mart and I took a video of exactly what perennial section looks like. And the really cool part about Peavey Mart is actually that they only bring in perennials for your zone. It's not like Walmart or Home Depot or Superstore, for that matter, Loblaws in general, that bring in a large variety of perennials from all different zones. I'm going to show you some plant tags, and I'm going to show you the section to look for on the plant tags at your local Peavey Mart to kind of help you determine what perennials are going to work in your garden. As long as it has your zone, these plants will survive. If you get outside your zone, there is a potential that they will not live. Well, not a potential, it's almost a fact. Now, when it comes to annuals and vegetables and when to plant them outside, your zone's actually going to tell you your frost-free days. So if you quickly Google frost-free days for zone 2, for example, it's going to tell you the best time to actually start putting your seeds and plants outdoors. This frost-free date means this is the time when the frost has lifted. So it's going to give you a timeline and a guide as to when to put your vegetables outdoors. Generally, a good rule of thumb is you want to plant somewhere between the last week of May and the first week of June. This is going to be your hot spot. So I actually got some seed packets from Peavey Mart as well, and this Livingston brand actually I've only ever seen at Peavey Mart, and it is one of my favorites. They are heirlooms and non-GMO vegetables, so that is really cool. Now on the back of the package, and I will give you a shot of this and what it looks like, it's going to tell you your planting depth and then also your thin to. So what it's telling you when it says thin to, another wording that it may have is seed spacing versus plant spacing. If that is written on the back of your package, that means you plant your seeds and then you need to thin them. On all packages, somewhere near the top, it is going to have a days to maturity or a date range. Really good rule of thumb for Canadians is to stay in that 80 or less range of days of maturity. This is going to ensure you get a crop regardless of where you live, because you don't want it to get hit with frost. And poof, just like that, I have lettuce. Just kidding. But this is what thinning out looks like. So essentially when I'm looking at my garden, this spacing right here is really good, but this little cluster happening here isn't. These aren't going to develop into plants if I just leave them. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to go in and I'm going to remove the extras. The key when it comes to starting any seedling is water, water, water. You want to keep that soil moist almost around the clock. moist like a wet sponge. That is going to ensure germination. If you let the soil dry out, you're technically also letting that seed dry out. So don't let that happen. Keep it nice and moist. So now it's time to get into transplanting. Let's put some tomatoes out in the garden. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Now, tomatoes are great. They can be used anywhere. They can be put in containers. They can be put in flower beds, raised beds, almost anywhere that there is sun. So if you want a great starter plant, get a tomato plant, not the seeds, unless you want to get into seed starting. They actually sell these at Peavey Mart. You want to make sure that you harden them off before putting them outside. That means you bring them outside during the day, every day for 1 week, approximately 5 to 7 days. You put them in a place that is shady and protected from the wind. You skip this step, you will end up with wilty leaves. So nicely prepped. And this I got from a local soil provider. They're called Saskatoon Landscape. So this is ready to go. I don't rototill that deep. It is hard right here. This is called zero till. This is the method I use. I use this method because it helps keep the nutrients inside the profile because it reduces volatilization. Say that 5 times fast. And then it also helps preserve moisture in the soil. That means I don't have to water my plants as often, and they will also always have a moisture supply. So protect the nutrients, protect the moisture. Try to do as close to zero till as possible. I just rough up the surface, and the reason I rough up the surface is to get rid of the demon weeds. So before we start planting, there's one thing we want to ensure, and that this soil in the container is moist, and that is what we have here. So that means we are good to go. Now we aren't going to tussle the roots. We're just going to pop those corners and lift our guy out. Roots look good. We're not going to touch them. We are going to plant him in. There is one additive I need to add, and I will only put this on for about 1 week. And that is the bucket. And this is going to prevent something called evapotranspiration. Say that fast. This is going to reduce the rate of moisture loss through the stomata, meaning we won't get that wilting effect we commonly see. And it's also, evapotranspiration means leaves and soil, the whole biome together. So we're also going to reduce the moisture loss from the soil, which is very important. We keep the soil nice and moist every day. We have to water until the roots have been fully established. Watering every day goes for all plants, regardless of if it's a flower, a perennial, a bush, a tree, or a vegetable garden. I am going to give you an expert hack. It's something called intercropping. And while you can intercrop to just get a higher yield, you can also intercrop to provide nutrients. And that is the case when it comes to beans, peas, and legumes. Actually interplant these with corn, tomatoes, sunflowers, any sort of heavy feeder that loves nitrogen, because peas, legumes, and beans actually fix nitrogen from the air and bring it into the soil profile. This will benefit you in the years to come, but also in the present day future when it comes to your tomato plant health. So the spacing of which you would plant these is just generally in this area. You can plant them out here, 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 but you can also plant them near the stem. Because tomatoes are going to get so large and these aren't a very vivacious pea, you can put them near the tomato plant. I would warn against using something like a scarlet runner or something that is a very aggressive growing pea, but something like a bean, like a bush bean, won't override the tomato plant, especially as it gets older. So if you planted an established tomato plant and then a few weeks later you come along with your peas, that is going to be enough. Now you're probably thinking, I already knew that. But what you may not have known is that there's actually a bacteria you can add to your pea seeds. This bacteria is naturally present in the soil, but not in a huge abundance. So actual farmers will do this when it comes to growing legumes in their crops. You can purchase this at most garden centers, and the packet looks something like this. I can guarantee you, you will be shelling for days. So give it a try. It's going to provide more nutrients for your crops, but it's also going to give you higher yields when it comes to peas. We've learned about our zones, we've learned how to plant seeds, we've learned how to transplant, and we've learned about aftercare, and we maybe even learned some hacks on how to provide more nutrients to your plants when it comes to the soil. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, and of course support Peavey Mart because they support small Canadians like me. I hope you enjoyed spending time with me. Again, my name is Ashley. You can find me on YouTube at Gardening in Canada, and I look forward to seeing you again. Bye!